This is an exclusive interview held on yourmachines.com. Today's guest is game designer and illustrator Mitergear.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you for having me. I am Mitergear, or Leonardo. I'm an Italian concept artist. I've recently graduated from NUA, and recently I've been developing a few small creative projects ranging from video games to small animations.
Where does your drive to create art and games come from? What led you down this creative path?
It's interesting. I never, until recently, really thought of myself as an artist. I just started one day during art lessons to just slowly pay more attention. Usually it's competition. Whenever I see someone that is more talented than me or better at what they do, especially if they're younger than me, it just drives me to do better effectively, you know? Whenever I'm in a room, I try to find somebody that is better than me, and I want to know why, and try to improve myself. I'm not sure if it's exactly a good way of looking at art, but it has worked for me, and I think it definitely has made me a better artist.
You have a lot of really striking concept art and standalone pieces. What does your ideation process look like before any art has even begun?
It can range from what I'm doing, but usually if I am given more time to explore various ideas, I think something I really enjoy looking at is contrast. I think that's something you'll find in a lot of my artwork. Usually it's within something that is appealing and unappealing, or life and death, bright colors, dark colors. I see to find an interesting contrast between two elements, because usually that's what stands out in our daily life. We tend to live pretty routine life, right? And what we tend to remember are the days or the moments that aren't, that kind of go against that. So I kind of try to capture that with my art, making something that is unappealing, like a monster, maybe showing a more human side of that, or maybe presenting a human or something cute, like typically a cat in my work, in this creepier and unnerving light.
You have some intriguing and unique mechanics in your games, such as not being able to jump in Can't Jump. How do you think specific mechanics or limitations help you explore a story or help you explore a theme?
That mechanic itself, for those that don't know, I made a game for a game jam called Can't Jump, where you play as a little larvae thing that is unable to jump, therefore has to fall through platforms. I'm not particularly skilled at the hard coding math aspect of video games. So instead of creating a complex mechanic, I decided to kind of remove an aspect. And by doing that, it kind of puts the player at a disadvantage. It makes them feel vulnerable, It's kind of like in a shooting game. When you don't have any bullets, it suddenly becomes a running away from enemies game. That absence, that feeling of powerlessness is really powerful. And you see it in horror movies all the time. In every horror movie, whenever a guy gets stranded somewhere, there's always a scene where they try to call someone, but there is no signal, or their phone has run out of battery. To create fear, you kind of have to remove a few of the elements we are used to having. And that's what I did with Can't Jump. I created this, in my opinion, unnerving atmosphere by being unable to go back up. You effectively, every time you fall, you commit to that fall.
Cats feature quite predominantly in your work, so I have a couple options here for you to pick your favorite type of cat. A, an abstract cat, B, a mechanical cat, C, a digital cat, or D, a dog.
It is funny. I'm more of a dog person. I do like cats. I mean, obviously I think they're cute, but mostly as a visual element. They've kind of been the obsession for many artists. As far as the cats you proposed, probably a mechanical cat.
There are a couple themes of organisms melding together with machines, or machines coexisting with life in your work. Do you believe biomechanisms could, or should, exist in the near or distant future?
I will begin this question by saying that I'm tremendously uninformed about most things, so do keep everything I say with a grain of salt. But when it comes to most technologies, there really isn't a good or bad technology. Everything has a potential. It's also ultimately how we as a society implement it in our social system. I mean, yeah, in theory, it's probably would be really cool to have legs that can jump really high, or like arms that can draw for you without even looking, right? But let's be realistic. Right now, in our framework of a society, if we did have these things, they would probably be used, to make us work even harder, to like control our every action even more, right? So whether or not a piece of technology is good or bad, it's entirely dependent from our environment, right? Right now, we're dealing with AI pictures and everything like that. But right now, it seems people are just interested in using them for spreading misinformation and things like that. So unless we change our society a little bit, these things are going to be used for worse and worse reasons.
Do you think after enough time and research has gone into biomechanisms, AI, etc., could they have a soul or be truly conscious in some way?
I think if by consciousness we mean, an ability to think for itself, to protect for itself, I absolutely think so. Whether or not it could have a soul, that's definitely more religious. I mean, we don't know if we have souls or even if we are conscious. There could come a time where, we look at machines in the same way we look at humans. Definitely, we have started to look at machines differently with Alexa and even our phones, right? We do tend to treat them differently. So the discussion of, whether your toaster should have the same rights as you will eventually come, probably not for a long time, but yes, I think it is. It's very likely.
In a sense, what do you think it means to be real?
Ooh. Well, I don't know. I'll say I really don't know what it means to be. I don't mean it to be real. I don't think one should even concern themselves too much with what it means to be real, because it can really dampen a lot of the experiences we feel. I think you should just concern yourself with what feels real to you, what feels right. I think what feels real to me is it's this, talking to other people and making connections. I feel like this is the sharing of ideas and discussion.
If you could be any machine, what would you be and why?
I always thought that the machines that on the highway that they raise the bar and let cars through, they've always had it way too easy. I feel like that'd be a nice job, If we're talking about a bit of more of a cyberpunk answer, in cyberpunk movies, there's a guy with like what looks like a thermostat strapped to his head with a lot of cables going around him. Regardless of what that guy is doing in whatever movie, I think that always looked really cool. Just having a bunch of cables coming out of you.
Well, you've made it to the end of the interview. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Any upcoming projects, shoutouts, anything like that?
Well, I'm currently working on a small little horror project. Was meant to be out for Halloween, but unfortunately, you know how these things turn out. I wanted to thank you, obviously, for this. It was really lovely to discuss these things. And congratulations on the website. It looks really nice.
Thank you for your time, Mitergear. It was great talking to you. For more artist interviews, visit yourmachines.com.
Anger is inevitable. It means that you care about your craft, you care about being good at what you do. And the best thing you can do with that is just turning it into something creative and positive.